yeah, Michigan Materials Management Planning Work Group meeting, our MMP work group. And our focus today is planning tools and resources. And the meeting is being recorded, and we're going to give it just a couple minutes while people are still joining the meeting, because my microphone tells me when people are in the waiting room, and my headset does, so it's very distracting. So anyways, if you are new to the work group, because I know we have a couple new work group members, or a guest joining us today, please introduce yourself in the chat, your name, title, and representation. And that way we can know who is out there. As you come in, you should be muted and no cameras should be allowed. But you should be able to use the chat feature in there. So let me see, no one else has joined. Let's see, we'll give it a one more minute while we're waiting. Hello, everybody. I'm Christina Miller, and again, I will let you know you're in the Materials Management Planning Work Group monthly meeting session that we have, and we today planning tools and resources. If you are new to the group, please introduce yourself in the chat, your name, title, or representation, and or if you are a guest, because we did allow this meeting to be open to the public so folks can hear these important this important information. And we'll start here with a couple housekeeping. So if somebody can make sure we're admitting folks, I'm trying to do multiple and I'm having a hard time. Anyways, couple housekeeping items. We have, everybody should be coming in with their mics off and their camera off, but for some reason, if it's not the case, please do that. I guess I should show you myself. Hi, I'm Christina. If you're new members or guests, please introduce yourself, name, title, representation in the chat. The meeting is being recorded, and we do intend to put this online so folks can go back and view it. Also, you will be getting, the slides will be sent to the work group members, and we will put those out online as well. And so throughout the presentation, there will be links in there, and when those are provided online, you'll be able to click those links so you can access that information. And we will be using the chat feature for questions. So if you have questions, please my headset tells me, like I said, every time somebody is coming in. But anyways, so with that, I will try to get started real quick. Our agenda is I'll go over through a couple updates, important updates, the tools and resources, which is the primary focus of this meeting today, and identify some upcoming events and opportunities for you to get engaged with 115 and planning, and then walk through some of our, give you who our staff resources are here in the division to help with this endeavor for multiple purposes. So for our recycling group and our planning group. So that is our overall agenda for today. We will give everybody time to ask questions in the end. So if you identify the questions in the chat, like I mentioned earlier, we'll address those at the end, I believe, is when we'll try to accommodate that. Again, please introduce yourself in the chat, name, title, representation. So with that, I'm going to move on. Hopefully everybody has joined us by now. Important updates. The director will be initiating the planning process soon. The exact date is not yet known, but it is coming soon. A couple things that are new to our website. We have a planning quick guide and the materials management planning approval process. There are two separate guides that are out there. I'm going to actually walk through those with you today so you can see what they look like. And we have a whole section on our webpage now for engagement opportunities and video links. And one thing in particular to bring up is that we have just started our Michigan Recycling Coalition regional meeting outreach, where we are, they've allowed us to join their regional fall efforts that they have around the state. And we are presenting, the recycling specialists as well as the planning team are out there presenting some key points that we feel people need to know out and around Michigan. So those meetings are very important, I think, for everyone to attend, whether you're a facility, organization, county, municipality, government folks, everybody, private citizen. I mean, if you're interested in this, I recommend joining those meetings. The first one we had again was last week. We had that recording and that is available online, and there are slides available as well. So those are the big important updates there. As I mentioned, we have a quick guide. We say it's a quick guide. It's 23 pages long, so it's not short, but it's quick. It has these major topic areas, which I feel everybody should take a look at, read the whole thing in its entirety. Try to get a grasp of what's happening with planning, and this is what the purpose of this quick guide is. It's not down in the weeds detail, it's higher level detail, so it should be good consumption for everybody out there. But the topic areas are your glossary, your goals and objectives of planning in general, a planning overview, the requirements of what's got to be in the county plan, the list of responsible parties and their responsibilities. And those specifically, we have pages of the county approval agency, the DPA, the designated planning agency contact, the planning committee. There's a nice section spelled out with the plan development and approval process and a flow chart that you can see how the process works. The planning grants, the MMP grant program, multi-county planning information, and additional resources that are available. So there's a lot of information there. Like I told you, I'll show you here in just a second how to access that and how to utilize that guide. But definitely, I recommend everybody to go to our webpage and find that. And so with that, I am going to bring it up that our webpage is a huge resource for everybody to kind of get a grasp on where we're going, what to do now, resources can do. We also jump you over to their page because they have a set of resources and guides that are definitely of value as well as other toolkits in that, which I'll walk through in a second here. So we are actively updating this web page, so it's going to look a little different, but essentially it is this information will be there, whether it's in this particular format or a different one. So with that, I'm going to go right to the page. I clicked on there, but I should let everybody know again. There is a quick we call it marketing URL, and it is michigan.gov/EGLE MMP materials management program. And if you type that in, it should take you to the same page that I'm showing to you right now. Like I said, it is going to be updated a little bit to try to make it more user friendly. And because there's a lot of information on there at this point. So anyways, on the left-hand side, you can see this is our main email box. And it's checked by our planning team. So certainly, please, if you have questions or concerns or whatever ideas, send us an email to that email address, and we will certainly, try to address those and see how we can help. Also, we have a planning staff program map. If you notice this, we're going to pop in there. I'm on my big screen, so everything shows up tiny at first. But anyways, this is a planning staff map at this point where you can see we have 3 planning staff and 3 regions that are broken out for us, each of one of us. And if you look below here, there's also the list of counties each one of us are covering. I am the planning specialist in the state, so you could also reach out to me individually if you need to, but we really highly recommend that you reach out to your planning staff for their region if you can, so that you can start building that relationship with each one of them, so Carly and Amy, and that way, they can help to facilitate some of these discussions as well. We also, because we definitely understand the talents and expertise our planning or our recycling specialists bring to the table for program development, technical assistance of funding mechanisms, and that we have also identified our recycling specialist program staff map. And as you can tell, they also are broken out into they have 3 different regions as well, and right now, and you can access their information there. We also have our current, so every county currently has what's called a designated planning agency contact, and that list, although we're constantly trying to update it, the main list is available here. This either identifies the county DPA and or the regional person appointed for that area. So you can see, again, there may be, if there's something on here wrong, please reach out to that main email box. But this is a quick place to go and see who your county DPA is for currently. Email and phone number is also listed. So getting down through here, we do have our Megadata project, a specific webpage for that. And Carly will be going through that a little bit later. We have a toolbox, which I'll show you in just a second, and our authorization program is right here. And then we do have a map, GIS map, that Amy will go through in a little bit. And I'm going to scroll past here and show you this information. So on this page right now, we have a Q&A that kind of helps answers quickly, preliminary. They were always subject to change. It's not an official Q&A because we know things change, right? So as questions were coming in, we needed a way to quickly identify an answer to help those folks that are asking. So those are here. The subpart 11, which is the planning, materials management planning subpart of the new law, that is right there, and some other additional information there. The thing that I want to call to your attention is under the info sheets and guidance, we have the planning quick guide that I mentioned and the approval process. So I'm going to click on the planning quick guide so you can see how it works. It is a PDF. It is 23 pages long, like I mentioned, but all of these contents here, if you click on this bounces you to that part of the plan. You can also, just so folks know, you can open up right here on your viewer, you can open this up under planning, and then you can also find the information on the left-hand side of your screen as well. But So let's say you wanted to go to the county approval agency. I literally just clicked on that, and as you can see, it brought me to that page with that information that might be pertinent for your review. But like I mentioned earlier, I really do believe you should look at the entire thing, so you can kind of get an understanding of what the whole planning process and components are. Again, high level, but we think that this is definitely useful. Also, I know we have counties that are part of our subgroup that have mentioned that they've taken a few of these pages individually and shared those with their local government folks, so they know the importance of things, or why, or what a responsibility is, and to do that. So again, you can take this PDF and keep them, take parts of it if you need to, and I would highly recommend you to take a look at that. Also, because it is important and going forward, we know that the plan approval process is a very important thing that needs to be out there. We did create a separate information guide that you can download this separately. Has the glossary of terms, the steps, through the process, step by step, and then the actual flow chart of how the process works. So hopefully this will help guide you for, through the approval process, and yeah, I guess, and answer some questions. So that's where what those two items are, which I think are important. We did identify them as new. As other stuff becomes available, we intend to do the same thing. So we have our presentations that we have recently given up there as well that you can access. And then specifically, I'd mentioned the MRC and those regional meetings. This is where the regional recording is, and it's of the entire event from from West Michigan, and the slides to that presentation. Things that are upcoming. There are some that are upcoming. East Michigan, we just got notification today, will be held October 10th. So we will update this up. The slides do show correctly. Anyways, you can click on any of these to join these regional meetings. They are free to attend. You do need to register. We also have additional conference information there that I'm going to go through in a little bit. So I wanted to talk to you about this toolbox real quick that we have online. We generated this toolbox with our outreach, our subgroup, our planning subgroup, which focuses on outreach. We have a group of counties and associations that have joined us to help create items we think will be needed out there in, to help counties and locals to develop their plan. And so we have these items here, and as you can see, I open this up, put in a little plus sign. There are, this is MRC. They specifically had a track at their last annual conference where our staff from EGLE presented and for the various 115 changes. And this is what this site goes to. You can walk through and see all of that information by going there. There's a tool for EPA. There's a map of the regions, Michigan Association of Regions. And the reason that's important is because they are the regional agency that you will be needing to have appointed on your planning committee, and maybe the resource that you're using in your county for various connections and collaboration. There's other things there that you can definitely click on and use. There are example agreements, specifically some contracts, host community agreements. There's some example ordinances. There's example recycling guides, because counties are going to be required to have a recycling guide. These here are some examples, and then some worksheets and information sheets that we've felt that folks have been asking about, we thought were important to put on there. So definitely bury down in that as you go through it. There's a lot of good information. Again, if you're looking through this and you say, man, I wish I had a copy of this or that, let us know. We might be already developing something, number one, and we may also, decide to make something because of that. So this is a preliminary, so you get, a quick view real quick we anticipate, this is a Word document, we're building out this website like I mentioned. We anticipate creating a section on our webpage where we're going to house official planning process items. This is just an image of a Word document where we will have buttons to bring you to the survey or item that you need to develop your plan. So look for something like this in the future with example worksheets and examples that counties can use or may be required to use when submitting their plan format in the future. Okay, so with that, I am going to jump back to the presentation, and I'm going to talk about one of the tools that we created that will be showing up on our webpage, like I mentioned. You either love these or you hate them, but a lot of times people like Gantt files or Gantt charts to kind of visually see things. This is one that you as a user will be able to manipulate all the green areas of it. This is a Gantt chart of the first steps after we initiate the process. And so you would be able to fill in the months here, fill in the information as you need to go through these various parts. This little shaded area here, just so folks know, when you file your notice of intent to prepare and become the county approval agency for your county, that starts a 36-month time clock that all of the development of the plan and the approval of the plan needs to be completed by, and that is this far date here. So we do have instructions. It will be an Excel spreadsheet, like I said, so you can, add things to it as you need as a county. So with that, I am going to turn it back over to Amy. So let me stop sharing my screen real quick.
All right, let me know if that worked. Can you see this, Christina?
I can, yes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Carana. As Christina kind of showed you on the map, I am the contact for sort of East Michigan, I guess mid to lower East. So I'll be looking forward to getting in contact and talking with a lot of you, hopefully, going forward. But another tool that we have, this should be posted soon, we're expecting, but part of the planning process in the format will be asking counties to determine their generation rates, how much they generate of various types of material, kind of estimate the sectors of the material. They'll need to know that in order to know how much capacity they need, and also to help kind of justify if they're meeting their, goals that are set within the plan. So it is important to have some kind of generation number in mind, and know how much you're generating. So we understand that you might not have that information. So we were able to make this tool using EPA estimates. This is a nationwide estimate. It's not necessarily Michigan specific, but we have set this up so that we have all of the numbers kind of included within this spreadsheet. Whoever's using it, all that they need to do is input their specific county or planning area's population, and it will automatically generate the tonnage for, how much of each material type is estimated to be generated within that planning area. So in addition to this, we also have the option to input your own values. If you're a county or a planning area that might have more specific information on your generation, you would be able to also change these national estimate numbers to whatever might be more specific to you. And then you can still get a generation, broken down by material type to use, within the planning format. So we're hoping that will be useful for counties. And then in addition to this is, like Christina said, with Gantt charts, you either love them or you hate them. If you're like me and you kind of hate them, this may be a better tool for you. Let me pull up a better view of it. This should be posted on our webpage soon. This is an approval process tracker. So essentially what this is it tells you how many days you have to complete a certain amount of tasks and what those tasks are. So I'll do a couple examples here. And it also tells you, exactly what your end date will be. So we
Amy?
don't know. Yes, go ahead.
Can you expand it so it's larger on the screen?
Yes. Sorry about that.
So folks can see it.
Is this a little better?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, sorry about that. As Christina said earlier, it looks a little bit different on my screen than it might, when sharing it. So anyway, as Christina was saying earlier, we don't know exactly the date that the director is going to initiate this next round of plans. So we just used, a sample date of going back to 2001. That's possibly around the time when the last round of plans were. I think, what is that, 99 or something? Anyway.
Yeah, 97.
97. Okay, so we're happy.
Yeah.
We're happy we're finally going to be doing it again. But so yes, anyway, let's say, we're in the 2000s. The director initiated the new planning process in April 1st, 2001. This says that counties have 180 days to file their notice of intent. So whatever, as Christina was saying again, whatever entity is going to be the county approval agency will file their notice of intent, and they have a deadline of September 28th to do that. That's 180 days after the initiation. So what you would do is on all these green columns, you would input the date that you actually did it, or if you kind of want to play around with it and put in what you anticipate to kind of get a visual of, a time frame or how you expect it might play out, you can do that as well. So let's say, let's put in, I don't know, we'll put in August 31st, maybe. Say they filed their notice of intent then. So this is able to tell you that your end all be all date that everything is due is going to be August 30th, 2004. That is the date that all the tasks, the whole plan needs to be completed, submitted, approved by EGLE. It also tells you that you now have 180 days to do these tasks, and your, due date for all of that will be February 27th, 2002. So again, you would go ahead and just put in the dates that you got each of these done. I don't know if I necessarily need to bore you with putting in dates. I could just put January 1st, maybe, for all of them to make it quick. Keep wanting to put in 2021, not 2002. I don't know. Anyway, these would be different dates, I'm sure, but it would all be before this February 27th date. There are a couple areas that we have that don't necessarily have a time frame, and that's where it's blocked out. Like, once you have all of this done, the next step would be for your planning committee to approve it to go for public comment. There's not necessarily a deadline set within the statute. We do want, everyone to keep in mind that there is, no matter what, this 36-month deadline. So it's better to do this sooner rather than later. But for purposes of this chart, it won't affect any other dates down in here. Whereas this next one, when you're going to start your public comment period, will, let's say we started on March 5th, I don't know. Then again, it tells you have 60 days to complete the rest of these. So I don't know if I am going to go through the rest of this, but you know that this is an option as well. In addition to the Gantt chart, to just kind of see a visual representation of what your deadlines might be, what kind of timeframes you might want to, be looking at to complete these tasks, to get everything done within, the timeframe set within statute.
Yep. Real quick, I'll
Yeah.
just interject.
Sure.
We do intend that this this worksheet here will be completed with your actual dates when you submit your plan format for approval, so that we can cross-reference your the various, you'll have to provide official documentation of all of these items for your approvals from your committee, your CAA, your municipalities, your newspaper article, your newspaper publications, all of that information. You're going to have official documentation that we can cross-reference. So this will allow us to, be able to look for that date and be able to have that. So we do intend to have this as an official submittal at the.
Great, thank you, Christina. That's a good point to add. Okay, oops. Moving on beyond that, we also have a new GIS map that kind of is for our section, but we believe will be really useful going forward with the planning process. So let me go ahead and pull that up. So this can be linked to on actually a lot of our web pages, from our planning web page. You can also get it from multiple facility web pages. Essentially what it is it's just a GIS map that plots all of the registered facilities within, the solid waste section. So that includes composters, landfills, e-waste recyclers, recycling establishments. It goes beyond the solid waste section, but a lot of our registered facilities. There's anaerobic digesters, processing and transfer stations. And again, these are all registered facilities. Oops. So, looking just at a first glance, it might look like there's quite a bit here, but you are actually able to go ahead and filter what you want to see. So if you just want to look at one type of facility or a few, you're able to, toggle those to either be hidden or shown. And then in addition to this, we also have our Michigan Association of Regions layer that can show you the facilities within a region within the state. That might be useful as well. And what we're kind of expecting counties to use this for is within the plan format, there is a database section and you will need an overview of facilities. This can kind of help you see maybe what options are available for materials management in your area, see who's registered. You will be getting program descriptions or facility descriptions for certain facilities within your planning area. This might be helpful to know who's registered or see if somebody might be missing that should be registering so that you can utilize them. It's a good visual representation. And then it might also help part of the plan format. If you want to use a facility for capacity, we will be requiring some kind of written acknowledgement from that facility. So this again gives you a good visual representation of what might be out there. So with that, I will kick it back over to, Christina, do you have something to add?
Nope, I was just gonna
Okay.
take back over for a second. Thank you so much, Amy.
Yeah,
I appreciate
no
that.
problem.
So yeah, it's pretty exciting to see the final product of that GIS map. Like Amy said, it's going to be very useful for a lot of folks out there. Having the ability to sort it by region also gives you that visual representation, like she said, so that you can really see what's available to you. So we appreciate Amy's hard work and getting it done and everybody who helped to contribute for that. I believe we're turning it over to Carly now to talk about megadata. Are you there, Carly?
Yep, I'm here. Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Like Christina said, I am going to be talking about megadata. As some of you know, that is the state's current effort to collect materials management data on a statewide basis. We started this just before COVID, so it had a little bit of a bumpy start, as most things did around that time. We finished most of it last year. We wrapped it up, and we are currently still working to get this in a format and layout that will make it the most useful for all of you. We have some information available on our webpage right now that Christina showed earlier. So it's got, Christina, you can go to the next slide, actually, that would be helpful. So right now online, we have the final report summary. We also have most of the county profiles up there. Not all of them are on yet. The ones that are not included are mostly counties that are still working with us to complete their MMCE grants. We will also have a facility list and some maps like the picture included. Those are what we are working with our IT division to do right now. We're hoping to make them in a much more user-friendly way. Most of the data that we have right now is in Excel documents, so we just want to make sure that it is as usable as possible. So stay tuned for updates on that. You can go to the next slide, Christina. And then one of the other big projects I have been working on is helping get our authorization program stuff up and running with the new update to 115 passing in March. We had a lot more work to do with this. So these are the current facilities and programs that are up to date on their reporting platforms. So this is important for you guys because we will have these, what they call annual reports, available and online, and they'll also have facility descriptions, which will connect to the plan formats that you guys need. And this is just a little flow process of how all of it's connected and the terminology. We can go to the next slide, Christina. Okay, and this is kind of what I was just talking about. So annual reporting will now include tons, capacity, and origin, which will also flow into the facility descriptions. And then we will use those to help determine recycling rate, create a facility inventory, and then determine capacity needs. We have not yet figured out exactly where we're going to be housing all of these annual reports or facility descriptions, but they will be available for counties to use. And
Yes,
next
great.
slide.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
No, I think we're moving on to Tracy. Thank you so much, Carly, for that. Both of those projects, you know, will be very useful for the state as well as the counties and locals out there to see what data is out there, get a baseline of information of what facilities and programs and mechanisms that are in place. And with the authorization program, you know, bringing these facilities in, having a database of information available for counties and programs to figure out where to send their material and to get this annual report of material types, tons, origins, and capacity is huge, because you can't plan and meet future goals without knowing where you're at and showing progress. You know, I mean, you need to really know those numbers in order to demonstrate progress. So very excited about both of those items there. We're going to move it over to Tracy from our recycling team, and I'll advance slides for you, Tracy. Thank you.
Thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I just want to mention, so I'm Tracy Pernhage. I'm one of the recycling specialists. I was kind of watching who's on, and I know a significant number of you. So the recycling specialists are in a sister unit to Christina's team. So I just want to mention that we're non-regulatory. We work closely with Christina's group, with Christina and Amy and Carly, and we're working closely with the planning team, with materials management plans, and Christina mentioned this earlier, especially in terms of once materials management plans start and are implemented, we'll be doing a lot of like the technical assistance in terms of program implementation, expansion, and things like that. And so I'm going to talk a little bit just high level about the tools and resources that our unit has, and then tell you about a fantastic opportunity to learn more about tools and resources later on another webinar that we have coming up. So EGLE recycling program, we use this slide just to talk a little bit. Oh, stay right there. We use this slide just to talk a little bit to describe the work that EGLE's recycling unit does and the focus of our work. So you'll see actually these keywords pop up in things like our recycling infrastructure RFP, our market develop RFP, and things like that. So access and participation, rules of recycling, education, equity and inclusion, training, things like that. So this is really, these boxes dictate the focus of our work and the actual work that we do as recycling specialists for the state of Michigan. So next slide. So the tools that we have to support communities, businesses, and the recycling and organics programs that are out there fall into one of these several categories: outreach and education, quality and quality improvement, access to programs, technical assistance, infrastructure, and markets. So we're going to talk about these through the next slides. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So know it before you throw it. This is our statewide recycling education campaign with the Recycling Raccoons. Hopefully you all have heard or seen them out and about or on your TV in a billboard campaign. The rules of recycling are meant to teach you how, where, why, and what to recycle. The Recycling Raccoons and the Know It Before You Throw It campaign actually had won several years ago a National Education Campaign of the Year by Waste Dive magazine. We used the Know It Before You Throw It and the Recycling Raccoons campaign. We used that with existing recycling partnerships to do some local programming with certain communities, Bay City, Kalamazoo, things like that. There's now a community toolkit on the recyclingraccoons.org website. You can go and download that community toolkit and co-brand the Recycling Raccoons asset with your own community logos. So you can utilize some of those assets that we have designed and built with your own programming. So next slide. One of the other things that we have in terms of education grants or education opportunities is this is specifically for small communities, for Michigan communities with fewer than 10,000 households and communities in Michigan that have existing curbside and or drop-off recycling programs. This is funded by EGLE. It's managed by the Recycling Partnership, which is a national nonprofit organization that works on advancing recycling programs throughout the country. The goal is to educate households again on what, how, and where to recycle. The eligibility is really for any community, nonprofit, tribal government, regional planning agency or authority that has a program in place. But again, it's focused on those smaller communities with programs in place to help them educate their residents on those programs. And you can go to the next slide. This should have been probably before. So this is a picture of the Recycling Raccoons website where you can download that community toolkit that I was telling you about before. So this slide is just out of place. I apologize for that. So you can go here, download, register for the toolkit and download that toolkit that you can co-brand with your own community logos and things like that. So I apologize for that being out of place. Next slide, please. And then recycling quality improvement. Again, this is important because, recyclables are considered a commodity. And with like any other commodity, quality matters. The better the quality of the material, the more desirable the material is going to be to the end market. And so we focus on quality and quality improvement. This is another program that we have that's funded by EGLE. It's managed again by the Recycling Partnership, and this program is strictly focused on improving the quality of recyclable materials that either are collected at the curbside or collected at the drop-off site. It's a grant program. It's eligible for all Michigan communities that have recycling programs. I think we are in our third round of this with the Recycling Partnership, and it really just works to reduce recycling contamination and again improve that material quality again from the curbside or drop-off or multifamily recycling programs. So as a result of the program, the work that the Recycling Partnership did with Michigan, specifically on drop-off recycling contamination. The Recycling Partnership now does have a drop-off recycling contamination reduction kit on their website that you can go and actually download. And they do give credit to Michigan EGLE for the work that they've done with us in creating that toolkit. So you can go to the recyclingpartnership.org/drop-off and download that toolkit. So next slide. Access, we talk about access, and access is really just the work that we do to increase access to and participation in recycling and organics programs across the state. Our goal is to have equitable access, and for us, equitable access means that however your garbage is collected, is how your recycling service should be. So if you have curbside garbage collection, then you should have curbside recycling collection that is equitable service. In our mind, that's how you should, that's the goal, is equitable access, equitable service. The idea is universal service, particularly when we're talking about curbside recycling. We would like every community or the community to have universal recycling service, meaning that everybody has it. You'll see in Part 115 something called Benchmark Recycling Standards that sets a baseline level of recycling service according to population density. And if you haven't heard about it, you'll be learning much more about it through the MRC outreach meetings, through Christina's group, the meetings that they're doing, recycling specialists are talking about it. So if you haven't heard about it, you'll learn much more about the benchmark recycling standards. You'll see it in the Michigan or the materials management plan format and things like that. So, but access is important because we want everybody in Michigan to have access to recycling and then eventually organics diversion programs. And next slide. Technical assistance. This is one of the things that we probably do the most of as recycling specialists, but it's probably the hardest thing that we do to describe what we actually do. We do things like program and project implementation. We have, between Jeff and Devin and I, we have lots of knowledge and years of experience. We work with communities and businesses on best practices for curbside and drop-off programs. We work with communities on how to fund their programs, so operational funding, ongoing operational funding, and what funding mechanisms will work best. We've talked already about material quality, contamination reduction, helping communities about how to reach your target audience. We often conduct presentations, meet with local officials, talk to them about what's happening in Michigan, what's happening nationally, legislation updates, again, funding, benchmark recycling standards, all those kinds of things. So this is, again, I think the hardest thing to describe as to what we do, but it's the thing that we do the most of. We'd like to know what you need help with, how we can help and support you, and building those relationships and how to connect the dots for you. So next slide. And best practice for implementing recycling. All of these things have to work together: the collection, the processing, having end markets for the materials that we collect, making sure that we're educating and engaging the people that are participating in those programs, making sure that they know how to recycle the right way, knowing those rules of recycling, having supporting policies, whether they're funding mechanisms, making sure the materials are going to the right places. Oftentimes it involves public-private funding. So all of these pieces have to be in place and working correctly in order for the circular economy, for those programs to work correctly and efficiently and effectively. And these all have to be working in alignment, and we need all of these to be working in order to reach that 45% diversion and recycling rate that the state of Michigan has. So this is, again, one of the things that we as recycling specialists do, is to work in every different piece of this this infrastructure system. So next slide. And everybody likes to talk about money. So probably one of your favorite things to hear about: recycling infrastructure grants. These are expansion grants. We look for expansion metrics. We just are getting into contracts with our 2023 grantees. Infrastructure items, these are for, quote unquote, quote, things. We want to see what your program is how it's going to expand, what it's going to do next. We're looking at just what you're, comparing you to yourself, your program to itself. We're looking for increase in tons diverted, new sectors, residential, commercial, and then new materials collected. The one thing that we like to remind you of is that this is a funding source. It's not a funding mechanism for your entire program. Next slide. And then market development grants, we have these often, or have these as well. These are for really all different sectors, profit or for-profit and nonprofit sectors. This is for funding things like market analysis, marketing, or market development, research, product development. The primary purpose of the market development grant is really to grow the end use of recyclable materials and recycled content materials. So, again, this is looking at the end market side of the recycling supply chain. Again, this is a funding source. It's not a funding mechanism for your programs. So, next slide. We just wanted to just make you aware that there is funding support defined in the updates, the updated legislation in Part 115, local recycling innovation program. That's currently what we're doing with recycling infrastructure grants, recycling market program, recycling markets program. That's what we're doing currently with the market development program. And then there's something else built into Part 115 called recycling access and voluntary participation. That's something that's not yet out there, and that is going to be tied to materials management plan approval and progress on the goals and objectives that you have in your materials management plans. So next slide. And markets. This is really where our recycling market development specialist comes in on building end market demand. End market is key to reaching that 45% recovery rate. Once we have materials collected and processed, we need to have end markets, ready to receive those materials to make new products. It's a critical link in the circular economy supply chain. We prefer to keep recyclable materials in Michigan and going to end markets in Michigan as much as possible, instead of sending them out of state. So we do have end markets in Michigan for a lot of materials, but we are missing end markets in Michigan for certain materials. So we do, like I said, we do have a recycling market development specialist on our staff that works to grow those end markets. So, and you all would know him by Matt Flechter. So, and I think he is on this call listening to me talk about what he does. So, next slide. We have resources on our website, different ones about, why recycling costs money, how you can help your community with recycling, funding mechanisms and things like that. We do need to update some of these and add to this, and we will continue to do that as we have time. If there's something that, you think that you would like to have as a resource, please reach out to Jeff or Devin or myself. And let us know if there is something that that we can help you with or you would like to see as a resource from us. Next slide. This is our team. I know that Christina showed you the map on our website. I just wanted to also just bring this up so you can see it, our smiling faces. This is at one of our press events with a recycling raccoon. And then I also wanted to just make mention of one of our newer employees in our unit. We have not had the chance to update our map yet, nor get a group photo with all of us because we can't seem to be at the same event altogether. But Arthur Taylor is our department analyst. Everyone should be excited about this because he is working with us to help with existing grants, grant reimbursements, amendments, all that kind of stuff. And since he's been with us for about the last 3 months, things with grant reimbursements and amendments and all that kind of stuff has really helped tremendously. So Art is also on, I think, on this call. And if we can just take a second, Art, can you I don't know if he can turn his camera on, or is that not available? I think it might not be available, but Art is on, and we're very thankful that he is in our unit and we're never letting him go. So that's all I have to say. Is that my last slide?
It is your last slide.
Okay. Can you tell that we're super
unfortunately,
excited? So yeah, we can't. Sorry, our cameras are all turned off. So last thing, this is really high level. We're doing a much deeper dive in a Catalyst Communities webinar November 14th. You'll have a chance with Jeff, Devin, and myself to go much deeper into all of this stuff. So sign up for that. It'll be super fun. So you won't want to miss it. Right?
Yeah.
How can it not be
so
fun?
Much, Tracy.
So.
You're right. I do have that later on that I'll share with everybody as well. But
Okay.
as you can tell, there's definitely synergy between our two groups, with the recycling group and the planning group. The planning program, really gets counties and stakeholders communicating about how best to manage the materials, create materials management systems, and it will produce a document called the Materials Management Plan. But it's really, that is the outcome of discussions and visions that are created, and with an implementation strategy, and using our recycling team to help develop those programs and mechanisms like Tracy was showing, using some of the grant programs. All of those things will help set you up for a more robust, more efficient, and an overall productive materials management system in your planning area. So yes, we appreciate their help with all of this as well. And they're the ones that are experts for sure with that piece of it. So thank you so much, Tracy, and welcome to the team, Arthur. So with that, we're going to start winding down to some other things next time. So this group, we have two more dates on our calendar. Here, I'll share my face. I don't know. Sometimes people like to see it. Sometimes they don't. And my hair, I don't know how it looks in the picture. But anyways, our next Materials Management Planning work group is scheduled October 18th. And it is same time. The focus will be on the notice of intent and the next steps. Notice of intent, which is what's required by counties to submit after we initiate the process. And so we're going to go into a deep dive of what that is, how to complete it, what are your next steps, and kind of answer questions there as well. That too will be open to the public, and you can just share the meeting link and they would just join the meeting at the time. They would not be included in the work group itself. But so that is our next time for this work group meeting. And I'm going to go through, like I mentioned earlier, the upcoming events that I know of and opportunities for you to participate in. There are quite a few of them that are free, and I would highly recommend that you join them. Many of them have virtual options as well. So this on your screen are the remaining Michigan Recycling Coalition regional meetings that are scheduled. And they, as you can see, they go from, well, we started last week, I believe, and we go through the October 30th is what the East Michigan to join. So you would click right on there and you can join those meetings. Again, they have virtual options. You don't have to physically be there, and those are free to attend. Lots of great information there. Also, what Tracy was just talking about, the Catalyst communities, there are 2 webinars coming up. One specifically for planning related, and that is October 5th. And the November 14th is the tools and resources on the, more of the deeper dive on the recycling program development mechanisms, grants, all that stuff that Tracy was mentioning that her team is going to present on. Both, again, I highly recommend you join them. They are sign up for those webinars, even if you cannot physically attend those events on that day, because you will get notice of the recording once they're available online. So I would recommend that you join them, even if you can't. Share it with all your counterparts and anybody else who you think may need to hear this. I think it's important for them to join those. Again, those are free. And then there are 2, so Jeff Kirchmerich and myself will be presenting at the Michigan Association of Counties annual conference on the 2nd of October. You'll be able to click right on that link again to participate at that conference if you'd like to. There is a fee for that, and it does run from October 1st to the 3rd, but ours will be specifically done on the 2nd, and I believe it's a 2 to 3 o'clock is what I have on there. And then if you are in the UP and you are a facility, there is going to be a facility 115 regional outreach just for Upper Peninsula. Carolyn Sincere, she is one of our EGLE district staff. That is free, but I think there's limited seating for that, and it is mainly targeting facilities and probably more leaning towards landfill items in the agenda. But again, if you're up there, it's an opportunity for you to join. As always, we have our planning webpage, which we are continuously updating and adding things to. We do have a Q&A out there, like I mentioned earlier. We have Gov delivery systems where, as a lister, you join it. It's free to join. Anytime something goes out, you'll get notification. You can choose a whole bunch of topic areas to join. These 2 are the ones I recommend for planning purposes only, but there are a tremendous amount of listservs that you could join of topic areas that I think would be beneficial. And then, again, you can send questions to our main email box, the eagle-mmp@michigan.gov. And then we too, here's our pretty pictures so you can see it with the map. You can click on the link here that will bring you right to it. And if you just want to keep one page for your records, I have the planning team and the recycling specialist on one slide. So if you want to keep that separate, you can certainly do that. And so essentially that's it. We left enough time to answer questions. So I'm not sure if we have questions. I know we can't raise our hands, but let me see. Are there? questions that I've missed?
There are 2 questions in the chat right now, if you can see those.
One from Karen, that one you're talking about?
There's one from
Oh,
Dan, and there's one from Brenda. I didn't see the one from Karen yet, but yes, so there's 3.
Okay. Okay, so there's 3. So I'll stop sharing my screen. Well, I won't stop yet. Okay. Yeah, so are there expansion grants budgeted for this year? Yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to with expansion grants, Dan. There's talk about funds that would not be available in years when planning grants would be made. Tracy, do you know what he's referring to? By chance?
I mean, I'm assuming that he means the infrastructure grants, if that's what he means.
I can unmute Dan quick if he wants to explain.
Oh, can you do it? Okay.
Yep. I'm going to unmute you down,
Okay,
Dan.
Dan. Yep.
Okay, so he should have the ability to unmute himself now.
Dan, do you want to unmute yourself and explain your question? Okay, well, we'll skip you.
Well,
if you choose,
so
if you
I'll
choose
just,
to, yeah.
well,
go
I'll
ahead,
just
you can
say,
go
I
first.
mean, because I did say that the infrastructure grants were like expansion grants. So we, like I said, there will be, we're expecting that there's going to be more infrastructure grants in the following years. We don't know like what that budget will be. So like I said, I did say we're just finishing up FY23. We're just putting those grantees that got awarded grants. We're just getting those into contract right now. We'll have another infrastructure grant for FY24. We don't know what that amount will be, what that budget will be yet. So, but we expect that there will be infrastructure grants along with, while materials management plans are going along. So.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's, obviously we're kind of, we don't know the how much money would be available for any of our grant programs at this point until we know the full outcome of what's happening with the initiation of the grant. Like Tracy was saying, but we anticipate that there will be money available going forward. We have those 3 programs specifically outlined in law to happen. So I assume that there will be funding available somehow for those. So I guess I will go through the next question. If you do have a question and want to raise your hand, apparently we can unmute you, which is good. Good to know. And you could ask in person if you don't have it written, but I'll get to the next question. Brenda had asked about, will the material be covered at the regional meetings the same? So essentially, yes, those meetings, the information will be the same. There may be opportunity, if you can make the regional meeting, it's more conducive to potentially building collaboration, working with the other surrounding counties from that area if they join, but you can certainly join any other regional meeting if you need to. And then obviously some, like the last meeting, West Michigan highlighted Goodwill because they're in that area. So they had, a presentation from them, which was nice. And I know in other ones there are tours associated. So there's a little bit different in the agenda, but the overall presentation should be the same. Hopefully that answers your question. Oh, maybe Karen responded to. So sorry, Karen, I didn't realize that's what it was. So what Karen said too. The plan template is not available yet. It is currently being reviewed by management, and we do hope that that will come out as, you know, it will come out as soon as it can. And it just as a reminder, the plan template will be very similar to your current solid waste management plan, with different questions, obviously, that pertain to utilization activities and programs, you know, so for recycling and composting, as well as other things, and setting goals. You know, there will be some differences, but the template itself will be long and large, but they're not hard questions. They just take time to respond to. So just so you know, that's where we're at with that. The question about 60,000 per year available this year or starting in 24. So we didn't get into the detail of the grants today, obviously, but there are a series of things that have to happen before you are eligible for grant dollars. And if you look at our quick guide and go to the grants, see if it works. It worked. So that's a positive. You have to have these things available, or these things have to be completed prior to being eligible for grant dollars. So you have to file your notice of intent, number one. You have to appoint or identify a DPA and appoint the planning committee, develop a work program that then is approved by the planning committee, and then EGLE, and then you're grant eligible for the planning grant. So I would foresee, if you look 180 days down the road, you're looking at the end of fiscal year 24, beginning of 25, depending on how quickly things move and how counties move forward with that. Trying to find my mouse because it's missing. Okay. Yes, the recording will be available to this, will be available online, and we do anticipate, we usually send the option with a follow-up to our work group members. So yeah, if you would like a copy of the recording, please send us an email if you're not a work group member. Okay, let me see this one. At a previous meeting, it was indicated the process would be initiated towards the end of this month based on comments. Sounds like initiate would not be in September. Is this correct? I'm gonna say I'm not sure. Technically speaking, the law says 180 days after the date of effectiveness, and the date of effective was in March. And so therefore, yes, September 25th is the date. However, you know, that if there's some delay in that, then there's some delay. So the 25th is on Monday. So I have yet to know 100% if that's coming. I will tell you this, that how you'll be notified, the Board of Commissioner chairperson and or the county executive, if we only have a few counties that have that, will be notified through an actual letter. And so they'll receive a letter with the date of initiation, and as well as once that letter is approved or sent, we will also email it to all the current designated planning agency contacts that we have listed, and the work group members that are part of our MMP work group, so that you guys know it will be available, and we will put it online. So the actual start date, 100%, I do not have that date. It still could happen next week, but I can't guarantee you one way or the other. Are there other questions that I missed? If you want to raise your hand, and I apologize, I don't know if if it was me that you were having sound issues or not. I did have a couple issues when other people were talking, so I'm not sure if it was just our overall connection. So I apologize for that. Hopefully you got the gist of what the presentation gave. But with that, so I'll give you one more opportunity to ask questions or raise your hand. Let's see. The Gantt charts that were displayed on the website, they are not there yet, Jeff. It's we intend to get that up there fairly quickly. We're in the process of updating that and adding that. When the commitment letter is signed, do you have to list the other groups you plan on collaborating with? So there, we're going to walk through this more in October, in our October meeting, but the notice of intent process will be a two-step process. The first step will be to acknowledge or take on responsibilities as the county approval agency, and you'll do a set of required action steps, and then you file your notice of intent. And you're going to file your notice of intent as a single county, you know, that you're filing it for your county. And if you work with other counties, you will there identify who you're working with. And when you file your notice of intent and you're working with multiple counties, you have to include that interlocal agreement that was created for this purpose. So in your notice of intent letter, at the second stage, step 2, you will identify the other counties you're working with. And each county, just so everybody knows, each county, whether you're working with multiple counties or not, will file a notice of intent and become the CAA if they choose to do that. And if they, and then if you're working together, then we'll be able to cross-reference that county A said they're working with B and C, and then county B submits that they're going to say they're working with counties A and C. So like we'll be able to cross-reference to see that everybody's working together and then have those interlocal agreements. It looks like someone has their hand raised. Can you unmute them, Carly?
I just made it so she could unmute herself, I believe.
Can you try to do that, Carla?
Question, so thank you.
Yay. Okay, we're go ahead. Oh, did she say she doesn't have a question?
You already answered it.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, well, meantime, I appreciate everybody's time. I know this is, you know, lots going through everybody, thinking about what are we doing? How am I going to do this? When am I supposed to do this? Who can I work with? You know, all these things. I know, I don't know if they keep you up at night. They keep me up at night too. But, know that we're trying to work together. We're trying to get this out as fast as we can. It's a huge undertaking, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time for the state of Michigan. We haven't done planning in a lot of years, and we understand that gradually we're going to get more and more people that are part of the process and understanding what's happening. And you know, we know that it's not going to happen overnight, like boom, it's got, you know, we're off, and there's going to be questions and it's going to be clunky at times. Know that we are actively trying to produce guidance for you, to have the information out there that you need to make decisions, to help to give you opportunities to engage with us through, you know, outreach and webinar, you know, events, activities. This is not the first and only thing we're doing. We do anticipate doing other events and webinars and tutorials as we start building this, you know, really get the bus moving or the train moving, right? So it's not the end all today. Like this, you don't have to know everything today, but the more you're engaged, the more you're, watching things and being part of these activities and these webinars and all of that, the better you'll be off overall. So again, we appreciate your time, your patience, and if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll go from there. So thanks everybody, and you enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you hopefully on October 18th. Thank you.